insane story. You're gonna do a double take like saying it's so. No, but this is true. It did happen. A black cop gets arrested for having too much money in pocket. I can't believe it. Yeah, white cop wrongfully arrests black cop during training. Yeah, and it's from this one right here too. Crazy. Anyway, let's get to it.
Unbelievable, but true. A cop gets arrested by another cop because the other cop had too much money in his pocket. Yeah, the other cop is black. Yes, you're correct. Let me give you the background. Put up the picture of the officer who got arrested.
Check this out.
This is insane. In Detroit, Michigan, a white cop arrested a fellow black cop for carrying too much money in his wallet. In 2019, during a police training event, 39-year-old Detroit officer Christopher Williams was arrested by a fellow white officer for having a large amount of cash in his pocket.
Wow.
No crime had been committed, and it was perfectly reasonable why he had the money in his pocket. Williams, an 18-year veteran.
Wow.
Let me say that again. The man has been a cop nearly 20 damn
18 years
at the Detroit Police Department. Says while at the training session, he went to use the restroom, and it was there he also crossed paths with fellow Detroit officer Tom Jones. Williams says before using the bathroom stall, he readjusted the money in his pocket within the view of Jones. Okay, there's nothing problematic about it. He's around other police officers. He has a bunch of money. He doesn't have any fear where he's at. They're doing the training. It's nothing but cops. He pulls out his money. He readjusts it. Maybe he counts it. I don't know. Puts it back in his pocket. He does it in front of a police officer because he's a cop and he's doing nothing illegal. And he feels safe that a cop is not going to rob him. So he readjusts his money in front of another human being. What happens next? Both Williams and Jones proceeded to finish the training. So they leave the bathroom. They finish the police training. But then when the police training was over, the white officer, Tom, goes to arrest his fellow 20-year veteran friend for having too much money in his pocket. I'm going somewhere with this because some people have missed the whole reason why this happened. He put my hand behind my back, the officer says, pushed me into a fence, cuffed me, grabbed my pocket, and told me, you're not supposed to have this large sum of money on you.
What the hell? Are you kidding me? Since when is it not okay to have a large amount of money? That's crazy. Yeah, that'd be like me. Yeah, that'd be like me. Like I'm saying around. Say I got a couple $1,000s in my pocket, and there's been times I have had a large sum of money of money in my pocket. Yeah, that'd be like me running, like walking down the street. You know, like I don't look like I'm rich or anything like that. Cop looks like a little suspicious like that, and he says, "Well, you got a lot of money there, a couple grand in there. What do you do with all this money? Oh, we're gonna have to seize your money." I say, "Where'd you get the money?" It's called working like that. Oh, you working what? Doing selling drugs like that? It's called profiling.
You? Wait.
Wait.
So, you're the police too, Mr. Williams. You're telling me that another cop harassed you, who was armed, put your life in danger, and effected an illegal arrest against you. There's more. Williams got arrested. He was released from custody only after his girlfriend showed Jones the bank receipt for the money. That's according to the lawsuit. Williams' attorney told Todd Russell Perkins believes Jones' actions against Williams were racially motivated. You don't say. What is this really about? What charge did he receive? Because there's no really statutory charge for having too much money. There's a process to where suspicion can be created because of problematic or suspicious transactions. However, that's not enough to effect an arrest. There's no investigation. So he decides to effect an arrest against a fellow police officer. The officer has a credible reason, but he should not have to give one. Having money is not illegal. But what was the white cop really saying? He was...
Yeah, I would just sit there and say, you know, it doesn't matter what race. It doesn't matter what race you are, your background, your gender, your political you know, like, or your sexuality. That has nothing bearing like that. But if you have a large sum of money, it doesn't matter. Because sometimes my people have a large sum of money, maybe they're going to make a cash purchase. Because a lot of these days, it's much easier to make a cash purchase Versus you and a credit card, you got to go through loopholes like interest rate, to the bank, all this stuff like that. Cash money is much easier. Here's your final line. Boom, down, bada bing, down. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Or sometimes if you're going to because some there's things are expensive out there, so you need a lump sum of cash money up in hand.
Really saying you should not have this money. This much money does not belong to a man like you. Now, I know that we're colleagues, and I get it. We've been working together for years. But you don't need money like this. You see, it was putting him in his place. That's what the white officer attempted to do. James E. White, the then point chief, seems to have excuses for Jones' actions and has since become the Detroit police chief. White said, to say there is a racial component, I've got someone in the bathroom with a very large sum of money on him. And inquiries being made as to where did you get the money? Well, that's not unreasonable to me. That's what he said. That's what the man said. Sir, he was arrested. That's not somebody asking a question, Chief. That's somebody effecting an illegal arrest. There's more. 3 years.
Yeah. And he's trying to make it effective, right? He didn't ask questions where the money came from and nothing. He just flat out arrested a colleague, police officer. Didn't even ask the question. Just flat out say, "Oh, you can't have the money." I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Years later, when White became chief, he changed his story. He says, and I quote, "It is never appropriate for any member of the Detroit Police Department to detain or handcuff anyone simply for having money in their possession. The investigation will now shift to a disciplinary review. Wearing the Detroit police badge is a privilege, not a right. And I am determining the appropriate disciplinary action now that the criminal process is complete. In one of my first actions as chief, I appointed an executive level member who oversees our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts to continue to create awareness and to provide training to all members of our agency." Sir, you're doing the political thing, because if you were a true leader, you would have handled this 3 years ago differently. But you did not. You're handling it differently today because of the transaction required for your political position. You are no transformational leader at all. On December 5th, a jury actually found Tom Jones, the white officer, guilty of assault and battery because of the illegal arrest. Now that the criminal aspect of what happened is nearing a conclusion with Jones' sentencing forthcoming, Williams' civil lawsuit, which is expected to seek $5 million against Jones, is moving forward. And remember, Jones did this in his official capacity as an officer. You cannot get around that. He did this as an officer at a training camp.
He was on duty.
As for Jones did say much. Jones did not say much after the jury's guilty verdict, other than agreeing to an in-person sentencing hearing set for February in front of Judge E. Bryant for the assault and battery charge, a misdemeanor in Michigan punishable by $500 or a prison term for no more than 93 days. He will get none of that. You guaranteed he won't get into that.
Nope.
So let's talk about it. First of all, he was not charged with violation.
Yeah. Here's the thing: that Jones guy, he won't see a day. He won't see a minute behind bars. He won't pay a dime, not even a penny of that. He'll probably just get like a little tiny little slap in the wrist, reprimand, if that.
Of both of office. He should have been charged with that because he decided to manipulate the facts when he presented the evidence based on his report. Another dynamic. Why in the hell is he not also arrested for or charged with, I don't know, maybe kidnapping, right? Unlawful detainment. There are so many charges that can go with this. Violation of
unlawful
obviously
prison
is one of them, but there are so many other charges that should connect to this, but they did not. They gave the man another pass. How do you get away with arresting a fellow officer just because he has money in his pocket? Imagine what they would do to black folk who have no power inside of their department or culture or industry of police.
And it reminds me back as well, too. I've done a couple of news stories as well, where, a black fellow American working a hard job, gets a paycheck, goes to the bank, and you get the bank manager calling the cops on the person because he wants to cash a check, and because they're thinking it's fake or it's stolen. And this person's like, no, it's not stolen. This is my job. Call my boss. But it said the bank manager. I've done 2 stories, as a matter of fact, where you get a black employee sitting there saying, no, call my boss. I'll from right here, right now. My boss would say, yeah, I work there. What did the bank manager do? He called two separate areas where they called the cops, and one of them, a guy got arrested for supposedly having a fake stolen check.
Policing. That is the part that won't get investigated, and that's probably where the actual extreme injustices are located. All right, consciously thoughts here.
The thin blue line didn't hold up for the camaraderie of their colleague of 18 years, 18 almost 20 years. I know that when it comes to the politics of the black community and how we quote unquote don't have the snitching and this, that, and the other, I think we gloss over and ignore how a lot of those politics also are present within the policing and all that or whatever. In this instance, we see how regardless of the 18 years, regardless of all that black skin, something about that old melanin came through and made it where he thought it was rational to not only mistake him for a crime to be committed, but follow through and then double down. Like, hey, ain't no reason for you to have that much money on you because I know you. We only make this much. You shouldn't have that. To me, it sounds like the white police officer may have some financial literacy that he might can work on or mismanagement of money. That's why he felt like he shouldn't have his. But man, that's sad right there. The last thing I would say for all the law enforcement watching this video or law enforcement to hear my voice in this right here, you have to really think about the details within this story and also think about how we talk about police in the black community and how you just treated a black police officer in one of the black cities in the country.
Yeah. But here's the thing I'm going to say before I get out here. The bottom line is it is nobody's business. I mean, from a fellow man, it doesn't matter if it's your buddy, your family member, your neighbor across the street, your co-worker. It doesn't matter. There are 3 things you don't ever fuck with another man. You don't fuck with their family. You don't fuck with another man's job. And you certainly don't fuck with another man's money. It doesn't fucking matter if another grown man has maybe a couple $1,000 and you got enough for a cup of coffee down the street. Come on. That's just fucking cardinal sin rule. Like I said, 3 things you don't mess with. With that said, I'm out of here. My job. Peace out.